So welcome, bienvenidos, bienvenue to our 7th and 8th grade world languages elective nights.
So we're going to meet the world language teachers. Now, I should point out that Madame/Senora Antonucci and Senora Hobson are not with us this evening. They will be presenting to the incoming 6th grade parents a little bit later on, whenever that is scheduled. But the members of our department, we have Madame/Senora Antonucci. She teaches 6th through 8th grade French and 6th grade Spanish. Hola, buenas noches. I am Senora Fuzailov. I teach 7th and 8th grade Spanish. Senora Hobson teaches 6th and 8th grade Spanish.
And hola, I'm Senora Rodriguez, and I teach 7th and 8th grade Spanish. I also wanted to let all of you know that during our presentation, if you have a question, please either hang on to it or type it in the chat. We will do our best to answer as many questions as possible as the night continues.
Yes.
Oops, why does it do that? There we go. So world language articulation, what is this all about? So 7th and 8th grade, French and Spanish, 7th and 8th is a high school level class with a high school textbook. It's like taking a 5th core class. So with that being said, we always, we try in 6th grade to explain to parents that, there's going to be a lot more homework, a lot more note-taking skills, and a lot more, it'll be every day for 40 minutes. In 6th grade, they just have it for one semester, 18 weeks. So it is a little bit more of, like we say, a 5th core class. So students who enroll in French or Spanish will take that language for both 7th and 8th grade. So that equals 1 year at the high school. It does not count towards high school graduation credit. However, it counts towards successful completion of level 1 will count towards college entrance. So for example, say your child takes 7th and 8th grade French, and he or she does very well and gets into French 2 as a freshman. Once your child that is taking French passes the first semester with a C or better, they will stamp the transcript saying that the child has completed level 1, meaning the 7th and 8th grade class. So with that being said, your child would have 7th grade, you would have the 7th and 8th grade, which is equivalent to level 1 in French. And then that if your child continues on with the French 2, that's another year right there. So the one thing we focus on, it doesn't necessarily count towards high school because you don't even need foreign language to graduate from Maine South. To get into, you don't need foreign language to graduate, but you need it for many, many colleges to get in.
Yeah.
And then students who maintain a consistent average of 70% or better over 2 years will automatically go into French 2 or Spanish 2 at Maine South. And this has been the rule since Senora and I have been teaching here in District 64. So they feed in. We recommend the students we all recommend our students because we've had them for 2 years and we place them appropriately. One of the things that we all feel very passionate about is that this is not an exposure class. What we mean by exposure is some parents are under the impression that they can just take this class and just get some exposure and then just move on. But this class is legit a high school level class. So we want to make sure that everybody is on board and
knows the expectations.
Yeah, and knows that it's a little bit harder than, it's not easy. I mean, it takes a lot of time, and we just want to make sure that all understand that.
Yes.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, so our textbooks. So all world language textbooks are currently online. The French textbook is D'accord. And our 7th grade students, our 7th grade Spanish students are currently piloting the textbook Encuentros, which we hopefully will adopt and be using in both 7th and 8th grade next year. Our 8th grade students, because they started with Avancemos in 7th grade, we didn't want to break it up suddenly. So they are continuing to use Avancemos for the rest of their 8th grade year. The 8th grade students that we have and the French students are going to continue to use their physical workbook that they received along with online textbooks, whereas our 7th grade students for Spanish have more of an online workbook that they're using during the pilot process. Should we adopt the book? Should this book be adopted? Then we'll see whether or not they're actually going to get a physical textbook, or we're just going to continue to use an online workbook.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump that.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
All right, so some of the key grammar concepts that are taught in 7th grade French and Spanish. So we divided it up. We wanted to talk about what is covered in 7th grade and what is covered in 8th grade in both languages. We always start off with a beginning unit or a review unit on things that are taught. In 6th grade, we review all of those survival phrases and how to say hello, how are you, my name is, we cover the weather, dates, things that are covered in 6th grade, we definitely touch on in the beginning unit so that all students, because sometimes we get students that switch from 6th grade French into 7th grade Spanish. Is that totally fine? Absolutely, because we treat all of our students kind of like as beginners. We also cover subject pronouns and subject pronoun combinations. We have conjugation of regular and semi-regular verbs in the present tense, such as to like, to be, and to have. We are big components of adjective agreements because your whole sentence has to match in Spanish and French, and then possessive adjectives to end out our year.
So the key grammar concepts taught in 8th grade Spanish. So we always start off the year reviewing what we call the highlights or key concepts of the 7th grade year, because, they've had a summer, it's been a while. We just don't expect them to jump right into new material. So we do spend some time making sure they truly understand, what is going on, what did they learn from last year, review some of that vocabulary as well. But once we get to the new material, we have a lot that we do in 8th grade. So we're going to be doing the conjugation of stem changing verbs, which is actually a little challenging because we don't have stem changing verbs in English. So it's kind of hard for them to understand at first. We conjugate many irregular verbs in 8th grade. We do direct object pronouns. We're going to have a unit where we compare the verbs ser and estar, and both of them mean to be, but they're used in completely different situations. And in 7th grade, they're taught in different chapters, but in 8th grade, we actually get to compare them to make sure the students really understand when should they be using one versus when should they be using the other. We do a similar thing with the verb saber and conocer. They both mean to know, but they are used differently. We have informal commands, and we do the present progressive tense.
Okay, so I'm going to take you through the key grammar concepts taught in 8th grade French. I did study a little bit. I'll do my best to pronounce the words, but not as well as Madame Antonucci. So she studies, they learn prepositions of location and disjunctive pronouns, interrogative words, irregular verbs such as aller, prendre, boire, and faire. Boire, I believe, is to drink, but I can't remember. Regular and irregular IR and RE verbs, spelling change ER verbs, the partitive, which is one of the hardest things to learn in 8th grade and in French, being that I learned it, numbers 101 and beyond, and demonstrative adjectives.
So what are some classroom and home expectations for our students? Well, we have homework just about every night, including weekends. So that might be a shock to some students, but yes, in foreign language class, you are going to get homework on the weekends as well, because it's that, you need to study a little bit every night. It's really the best way to learn a language. We always go over our homework and classwork in class. We'll either have an answer key that they can make corrections, or we fill it in together. And the students are responsible for correcting their own work, because that really teaches them, how they can learn from their mistakes. And that way they can ask any questions that they need to. We highly recommend studying and reviewing vocabulary and grammar 10 minutes a night whenever possible, in addition to the homework. We know other things come up. There's tests and other classes and projects. So, if they can't do it that night, then maybe the following night they do 15 minutes instead. But really, the best way to learn this language and not just have it memorized for the quiz, but to know it beyond that quiz, is by doing a little bit of a review every night. Our daily homework and classwork are always posted onto our virtual classrooms. And students should be bringing home a spiral notebook. It's really important that your child has a Spanish or French notebook just for that subject, that they write their notes and vocabulary lists in them, and that they use it when they're doing their homework. They should have it open. We want them to have them open in class as well.
So touching upon the spiral notebook, we require, or we'd like our students to have a spiral notebook so that they can keep notes on classroom materials such as vocabulary, grammar, and culture. This also helps with note-taking and organization. And also, we are firm believers, all four of us, that being able to write something down is the best way to learn something. So when a student is writing, it's processing in their minds. Something I've told my own son who's taking language right now, make flashcards to practice, because when you write something down, it just processes in your brain. It's just something we've always learned and always been very passionate about. So we also want them to make sure to have their notebooks easily accessible during class. For example, today we did an activity where they were talking to each other about parts of the house, and some of the kids are like, oh, I can't remember how to say this. And I just said, saquen los apuntes, take out your notes, use your notebook. It's fine. You're still, you're just beginning to learn the information. So why not have something accessible so you're not guessing? So again, that's just basically, we really like them just to have a spiral notebook for class.
Okay, so assessments. So we give assessments in a variety of ways. We do both informal and formal assessments. We do listening activities. We have a lot of listening activities, no matter which book we're in, which is really great because they get to hear, accents of different people from different places. They do speaking activities. Sometimes, as Senora Rodriguez said, they are speaking in class to a partner. Sometimes we might have them do maybe a seesaw or a flip grid that we're going to start doing, where they actually have to record their own voice. We've had them, both 7th and 8th grade, have given oral presentations that they have to get up in front of the class and actually, present something to us. We have reading activities because that's an important skill, and being able to answer questions about that as well. And of course, we do a lot of writing, whether it's on homework or on a quiz or just daily, marker practice.
And one thing I was going to say to that is, we have them, I just lost my train of thought. Never mind. Sorry about that. Grading and extra help. Students' grades are based on assessments, classwork, homework, and projects. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So let me go back for a minute. The high school is really big on communication. So that is why we are trying to get our 7th graders talking already. We have, and just as an aside, we try to speak only in Spanish to our 8th graders right now. We want them speaking in the language. So when they get to high school and they're taking level 2 or level 2 Excel, depending French and Spanish, we want them to at least feel prepared, because every high school teacher is different. Some might start right away, day 1, speaking in Spanish or French. So communication is big at Maine South.
Yes.
So then going back to that grading and extra help, students' grades are based on assessments, classwork, homework, and projects, just like Mrs. Vasilov addressed. Our grades are posted usually on the Power School portal, so you can review them with your child. And then one thing we really want you to express to your student or your child is having a difficult time grasping the material. Please make sure that they reach out to us via email or come pull us to the side. Can I come in? Can I have a pass? All students know about the golden passes. They can come in at 7:35 in the morning, or if our schedules permit, we could do something in the afternoon, but mornings are better.
Yeah. And we usually do have oftentimes a practice session before a quiz or a test, or for students who are really struggling, we try to get them in sooner, but know that we definitely are here to help them. But some other great ways that they can study. So as I stated earlier, please have them study and review their grammar 10 minutes a night whenever possible. I can't tell you how many parents have said to me, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I don't know Spanish. And that's okay. In fact, you know what? Let your child say some of the vocabulary words to you, so that way they're practicing saying them out loud and practicing learning what they are, or have them reteach you a grammar points. Really, the more they talk about, the better they'll learn it. We use Quizlet. It's a great like online flashcard system where they can flip through flashcards. Sometimes we assign it for homework. We have games that we play in class with Quizlet. It's really a good program. We recommend making their own flashcards. We used to require this, but we don't anymore because we just have them write out the list in their notebooks. But it really is a great thing where they can write the English on one side, the Spanish and French on the other side, and the cards that, flip through the cards, the ones they know, put to the side, and then the ones they don't know, keep going through those. We told our 7th graders, since we're doing like rooms in a house and we're doing like different furniture, they could take like write a card la cama, which means the bed, and put on their bed, or like la estanteria, put that like on the bookcase. So that might help them visualize when they see the word and see the object. That could also help them. Practice writing out their vocabulary words. They can do this in a variety of ways, even just like on paper. Dry erase markers they love to use. So if you have a dry erase board in the house, maybe they write out a couple words, at night, or that really the ones that are tricky with the accents or those irregular ones, they write those out a couple times so they learn them. And as we stated, they should use their notes in their spiral notebook during class time to help them, and at home, because we're just learning it, and you learn, the more you look at it, the better you learn it, and you'll maintain it for longer.
So this pretty much takes us to the end. Gracias y merci. So please don't hesitate to email us again if you have any further questions, but I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so that I can see if there are any questions in the chats.
¿No hay preguntas?
No.
No.
I can see if you all have any, please don't hesitate to ask any questions right now. We are open and able to do so.
Or if you think of one later on, you're welcome to contact any one of us, or even Senora Hobson or Senora/Madame Antonucci, who weren't here tonight. Any one of us, and we'll be more than happy to get back to you if there was something you missed or you didn't understand, or just want more clarification on.
Okay. All right. Well, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end the presentation. Muchas gracias. Buenas noches. Thank you so much. I forgot how to say good night in French. How dare I?
Say merci.
Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much.
Good night. Buenas noches.